Good evening, everyone. Before we get started, we were in a closed session, so first we need to come out of a closed session, and I need a motion for us to certify the closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a motion. Whereas the school board of the city of Newport News has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such a closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newport News School Board hereby certifies to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You heard the first and heard the second. Time for the question. There being none, Ms. Hinton, please call the roll.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons? 4. Ms. Sewell's Law? 4. Dr. Best? 4. Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So now let's go to our meeting. Welcome, everyone. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. On behalf of the members of the school board and the superintendent, I welcome each of you present and watching. Our quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. We will begin tonight's meeting with the invocation pledge to the flag. Here to do the honors is Mr. Phil Harris, president of the Newport News Council of PTAs. Mr. Harris has served on PTAs at the local, district, and state level for the past 5 years. He has worked as the family engagement specialist for NNPS, and he is the father of 2 students, Brandon and Corbin, who attend Highwood Elementary School, and apparently they're here with you.
Yeah, they're going to help me with the pledge.
Okay.
Make sure I don't forget any words.
All right, the floor is yours.
All right, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone could please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And sit down. I had to talk them into doing that, so I'm glad that they were willing. As you know, for PTAs, the partnership between parents and schools is very important and is a big part of why we volunteer our time to be able to make those partnerships happen at the local school level and then also at the city level. And I wanted to share a poem that helps capture kind of the reason why. And this is titled Unity, and the author is anonymous. I dreamt I stood in a studio and watched 2 sculptors there. The clay they used was a young child's mind, and they fashioned it with care. One was a teacher. The tools she used were books, music, and art. The other, a parent, working with a guiding hand and a gentle, loving heart. Day after day, the teacher toiled with a touch that was deft and sure, while the parent labored by her side and polished and smoothed it o'er. And when at last their task was done, they were proud of what they had wrought, for the things that had molded into the child could neither be sold or bought. And each agreed they would have failed if each had worked alone, for behind the teacher stood the school, and behind the parent, the home. So I want to thank you guys for being part of that partnership, and we're looking forward to this year continuing to make closer connections. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harris. Again, thank you for participating in tonight's meeting on behalf of the school board and our superintendent. We welcome you, and we look forward to working with you as our Newport News Council of PTAs and representatives. So, Mr. Harris, do you have any family members with you today? If they are, or school family, you could please stand up, and they also could be recognized. So that's 2 of our future graduates sitting over there. Well, we're going to continue with the agenda. Next on the agenda, of course, is item number 1.03, board recognitions. And I believe that Dr. Parker and I will go forward and give the recognitions.
Okay, Michelle, we're all yours.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of presenting this month's school board recognitions. The Virginia Department of Education's Creating Excellence Awards promote best practices in education and recognize exemplary contributions that improve the quality of career and technical education programs. This evening, we are pleased to recognize 2 Newport News Public Schools CTE programs that have earned the statewide award. The partnership between the Riverside College of Health Careers and the Governor's Health Sciences Academy at Warwick High School earned the top award in the Secondary Business and Industry Partnership category. Present this evening to commemorate this award are Michael Hamilton, Director of Campus Resources for the Riverside College of Health Careers. Would you please come forward, Mr. Hamilton? And Jason Holler, Program Administrator for Warwick High School's Governor's Health Sciences Academy. Mr. Holler? Congratulations, we'd like to get a picture. This award-winning partnership has provided students in the Governor's Health Sciences Academy, stay up just for a moment. The award-winning partnership has provided students in the Governor's Health Sciences Academy with opportunities for in-school and summer medical experiences, mentoring, and volunteer opportunities. Staff from the Riverside College of Health Careers serve on the Health Sciences Academy Advisory Committee to ensure that faculty and students are well informed of their ever-changing industry needs and the needs of the community. From the onset, Riverside staff has worked collaboratively with the Academy teachers to write the curriculum and develop guides and educational plans for the courses. Mentors, guest speakers, and field trips are provided to rising 9th grade students through the Summer Medical Explorers program. In addition, clinical education staff from Riverside help create the clinical labs taught at the Academy, which provide work-based learning experiences for our students. In May, this partnership was selected as the Regional Secondary Partnership of the Year, and during an awards ceremony the next month, the partnership was named the top business industry partnership in the state. So please join me in a congratulatory applause. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Hamilton, for your dedication to our students. Thank you very much. As I referenced, not 1, but 2, Newport News Public Schools also brought home the highest state award in the Career and Technical Education Exemplary Program category. The Advanced Student Supporting Innovative Systemic Technology, or ASSIST, is the student-led help desk at Heritage High School Governor's STEM Academy, and it earned a CTE Creating Excellence Award. Members of the ASSIST help desk partner with the computer technology support team at the school to assist with repairs and maintenance, encourage peers to infuse technology into their work products, and enrich the technology personality of the school. Joining us this evening are several members of the award-winning team. Please join us in congratulating Adam Harris. Mr. Harris. Marissa Harris. Asia Shell. Brendan Turner. And the administrator of the Governor's STEM Academy, Chanel Callwood. I'm going to step aside so we get a picture of this group as well. Let's gather over here just for a quick picture. And while you remain here, I'd like to point out that the young ladies and gentlemen here before you were members of last year's award-winning team. They are 2018 graduates of Heritage High School's Governor STEM Academy, so we're very grateful to have them join us tonight. The ASSIST program is open to juniors and seniors and combines classroom learning with on-the-job experiences that relate directly to the students' career goals and interests. These graduates helped with the school-wide distribution of Chromebooks and created digital citizenship podcasts to promote a positive school culture in support of safe and responsible technology use. The program at Heritage served as the pilot for student-led help desks and has been successfully replicated at other schools. So congratulations. Thank you very much. Joining the team tonight are their principal, Shamika Gerald. Of course, you met Ms. Caldwell, their program administrator. Also, Lamarck Fields and Jaleel Green, technology support specialists. Would you all please stand, be recognized? I'd also like to acknowledge Delrose Atkinson, instructional technology coach, Brandy Wright, the division's technology coordinator, and Chris Jenkins, our interim director of technology, for their support. And lastly, we have a very robust CTE program in Newport News Public Schools. It serves about 9,000 students, has 92 CTE teachers, and 8 CTE administrators. So I'd like to acknowledge our CTE supervisor, Tanette Outland. Ms. Outland? And our CTE specialists, Christy Hopkins and Jennifer Romanelli. The Virginia Index of Performance Awards recognize high-achieving schools that exceed state and federal accountability standards and achieve excellence goals established by the governor and the Virginia Board of Education. Tonight, Newport News Public Schools is pleased to recognize Deer Park Elementary and Hilton Elementary for earning recognition in the VIP Awards program for advancing student learning and achievement. Deer Park and Hilton both earned a 2018 Board of Education Excellence Award. To qualify for this award, elementary schools must be fully accredited, exceed federal accountability benchmarks in reading and math, and have a significant number of students demonstrate advanced proficiency and proficiency on all standards of learning tests. Schools also earn bonus points for the percentage of students passing the 3rd and 5th grade reading assessment and student participation in the governor's nutrition and physical activity program. These awards represent a collaborative effort among our educators, students, and their families. Present this evening to accept this recognition on behalf of the Deer Park School community are several members of the leadership team. Please join me in congratulating Principal Mary Jo Anastasia, Assistant Principal Cassandra Stevenson, Kindergarten Lead Teacher Melinda McAllister, First Grade Lead Teacher Denise Bagley, our 2nd Grade Lead Teacher Jennifer Howell, our 3rd Grade Lead Teacher, Frida Clear, Fourth Grade Co-Lead Teachers, Kara Latouche and Vicki Sparks. Our 5th Grade Lead Teacher, Lori Morgan, Special Education Lead Teacher, Jeanette Dale, and rounding out our Deer Park team here this evening is our Resource Lead Teacher, Cindy Jones. Before I tell you just how well Deer Park performed, we want to see if we could get a picture of them as well. So I'm going to ask you to step in front of me so we can get a good group shot of all of you.
But this is the public one. One is the one for us.
That's it. The same thing. Right, the regular session.
But this is not.
So you talking about board doctor?
I did this earlier today.
I want everybody to kind of look, just stay right there. I want everybody to look at you while I talk. The students, staff, and families at Deer Park continue to surpass state and federal targets. Thanks to this dedicated team of educators, 94% of Deer Park students pass reading SOL tests, while 91% of students pass mathematics, 97% pass history, and 100% of students pass science tests last school year. Congratulations. Thank you. We are also pleased to recognize the team at Hilton Elementary School for their efforts in earning a Board of Education Excellence Award as well. Accepting on behalf of their school community this evening is Principal Annette Walls. Ms. Walls. Assistant Principal Charlene Simmons. Our kindergarten lead teacher, who's not present this evening, but I did want to recognize Susan Aylesworth, but she's waiting on a new grandbaby. Our first grade lead teacher, Michelle Sanders. Second grade lead teacher, Erin Ferguson. Third grade lead teacher, Allison Mitchell. Fourth grade lead teacher, Bree Elliott. Our fifth grade lead teacher, Nolan Reinisch. And the special education lead teacher, Elizabeth Torloni. Now again, want to get a group shot, so I'm going to ask you to stand in front of the podium so we can get a picture. Congratulate you once more. Another couple of moments. The Hilton students and staff also continue to excel. At Hilton, 85% of the students pass reading SOL tests, 86% pass mathematics, 97% pass a history SOL test, and 93% of students pass science tests last school year. So again, congratulations. I'd also like to mention that Deer Park and Hilton are among just 133 schools in the state and only 7, so we have 2 of the 7, on the peninsula to earn the award this year for their successful student achievement. This is the 9th year that Deer Park has earned recognition in the VIP program, and this is the 6th time that Hilton has earned recognition in the VIP program. So I know there are some other staff members present from both Deer Park and Hilton. Would you please stand and be recognized at this time? I know this is an entire school effort, so we'd like to say thank you. Thank you, and again, congratulations on a job well done. And lastly, training and development are top priorities for the Newport News School Board. As part of its collective effort to maintain effective leadership, the board has participated in numerous professional development programs, conferences, and workshops through the Virginia School Boards Association and the National School Boards Association. This evening, our school board members are receiving their own awards for their dedication to advancing their expertise from the Virginia School Boards Association. The VSBA Academy provides training in effective leadership and governance to school board members and support staff. Each year, VSBA recognizes board members for their dedication to improving their skills through conferences on leadership, school laws, strategic planning, and legislative issues. Each of the persons being recognized this evening has a certificate from VSBA at his or her seat. These awards honor their participation in the Academy's programs over the last 2 years. We'd like to congratulate Vice Chairman Douglas Brown, who earned the Award of Distinction. Chairman Gary Hunter and Board Member Shelley Simons earned the Award of Honor. And board members John Ely and Marvin Harris earned an Award of Achievement. Our new school board members, Dr. Terry Bess and Ms. Lisa Searles Law, will be eligible for award recognition next year. Our Award of Distinction honoree, our Vice Chairman, Mr. Brown, will be invited to attend a special luncheon during the VSBA Annual Convention in recognition of his award. Each of these dedicated public servants has received an award certificate and a distinctive lapel pin to symbolize their commitment to effective school board governance through participation in the Academy's programs. So to our school board, on behalf of the students, staff, and citizens of Newport News, thank you for your leadership and your dedication of the school division, and congratulations on your awards.
Thank you.
Did you get your certificates?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Putting on my pen.
At this time, we'll take about a 5-minute break so that our honorees and their families may leave if they desire to do so. During this time, our viewing audience will have the opportunity to view this month's School Board Spotlight. So we'll stand in recess for about 5 minutes. Thank you.
One would assume that a technology conference would focus on new gadgets and flashy robots. But when Newport News Public Schools hosts a technology conference, the focus is on the people, namely our educators, and preparing them to use technology in the classroom with a purpose and method for achieving student success. For the second year, Innovate, an NMPS technology conference, encouraged educators to explore a wealth of instructional technology practices, tools, websites, apps, and devices to ultimately prepare every student to become college, career, and citizen ready in the 21st century. The 2-day conference held at Gildersleeve Middle School was open to all employees, with about 400 attending the first day and over 350 on the second day. Educators and staff were able to register for over 100 unique sessions, which were led by almost 40 different NMPS educators representing more than 10 different departments. 3 featured speakers were invited to share insights to successfully implement technology in schools and classrooms, while a number of representatives from local and global businesses shared their professional expertise. In between sessions, educators were invited to tour the Innovation Station and poster sessions in the library. Hosted by NMPS teachers, instructional technology coaches, and tech-savvy students, educators were able to test drive cutting-edge devices while exploring options to enhance their classroom learning. By participating in the Innovate Technology Conference, hundreds of NMPS teachers earned valuable recertification points, while also gaining the skills and knowledge to empower students and ignite creativity. Middle school girls in Newport News Public Schools are receiving inspiration and empowerment to change the world now. During Bloom, a 2-day middle school girls leadership and empowerment institute, more than 35 young ladies receive the training and encouragement to grow as global leaders. With student-led Bloom clubs in all Newport News middle schools, the Summer Leadership Institute was designed to equip these female leaders to lead their own organizations. With the theme, More Than a Princess, 18 high school and college students served as empowerment coaches, using team activities, planning sessions, and engaging games to build confidence and leadership skills. During day 1, the ladies participated in a Wonder Woman Power Hour and networking lunch. The middle school girls were able to hear from women who serve as leaders in the community, education, government, and private industries. And during their lunchtime, students sat down with these strong female leaders to learn more about their career paths and educational journeys. By developing our youth through Bloom, middle school girls are gaining the confidence, knowledge, and skills to become leaders in whatever career fields they choose to triumph. Every year, students at Christopher Newport University go above and beyond to welcome back students and staff in Newport News Public Schools. As CNU strives to form good citizens and leaders, many captains are already living with meaning and significance by volunteering in local schools. For freshmen in the President's Leadership Program, their first act as CNU students is to get to know their community by volunteering across the peninsula. For the 11th year now, many NMPS schools benefited from the hard work of these budding leaders. At a number of schools, CNU students organized school supplies, helped beautify outside landscaping, decorated kindness rocks, and assisted teachers as they prepared for a new school year. CNU's Greek organizations are among the most selfless students on campus, so it's no surprise that all 18 fraternities and sororities woke up early to welcome back Heidenwood Elementary students on the first day of school. For the 3rd year, the Brothers of Psi Upsilon are partnering with Heidenwood and invited CNU's other Greek chapters to join the morning festivities. Almost 300 Greek Life members energetically greeted students as they arrived to school. And for the 10th year, CNU's student athletes continued their annual community service tradition of putting kids first. As part of their Safe Driving initiative, a record-setting 530 student volunteers positioned themselves at intersections along Warwick and Jefferson to remind drivers to be safe, slow down, and be on the lookout for kids at bus stops. A number of athletic teams also made time to visit schools and personally greeted students, staff, and families as they arrived. By venturing off campus, CNU students are helping to build a culture of collaboration in Newport News Public Schools by caring for our students. Whether they speak in English or Spanish, students in Newport News Public Schools can achieve academic success by learning in dual languages. Dual language immersion is currently offered at Watkins Early Childhood Center and Saunders Elementary. Students who are zoned for Palmer Elementary can also attend the program with free transportation to Saunders. Students can enter the dual language program in pre-kindergarten or kindergarten and continue on at each grade level. Newport News plans to expand the program each year until it's offered to kindergarten through 12th grade. Dual language immersion is a unique and creative approach where students spend their school day learning in English and Spanish. In each classroom, half the students are English speaking and half are native Spanish speakers. The students spend half the day learning in English and the other half learning in a Spanish-speaking environment. A hallmark of this program is that students learn cooperatively and help one another grasp the different languages, while benefiting through increased hands-on and project-based learning. With highly skilled teachers guiding the process, these students are succeeding academically and socially while increasing their proficiency in 2 languages. The Spanish-speaking children learn in an environment that reinforces their native language, which is important for early cognitive development. And the English-speaking students learn a second language while staying focused on grade-level proficiency. Typically, most dual-language immersion students are a full grade level above their peers by the end of middle school. Becoming bilingual increases a student's ability to focus, multitask, problem solve, and think creatively. In Newport News Public Schools, speaking a different language can enhance academic experiences and youth development. If you have a pre-kindergarten or kindergarten student zoned for Palmer or Saunders Elementary Schools, visit this website for more details about dual language immersion.
Be like Robin Roberts.
Welcome back, and hope you enjoyed the school board spotlight. During our meeting, we provide time for the public to address the board. These are scheduled at the early part of the agenda and also toward the end of the meeting. The board is very interested in the ideals and opinions of the public and wishes to give the public the opportunity for their input on the operations and policies of the school division. However, this is an opportunity for the board to listen to your comments, and as such, the board will not engage in a dialogue with the speakers or the audience. Speakers with specific questions will be referred to the superintendent or the appropriate office. So that everyone who desires to address the school board may have a time to speak, we ask that you comply with our 3-minute time limit. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on. The yellow light indicates that you have 30 seconds remaining, and the red light in the beep says your time is up, and we ask that you would conclude your comments. So at this time, as your name is called, would you please come forward? And we do have some cards. So we do have this Miss Rondell Wagner. Would you please come forward?
Good evening and welcome to 2018-19. The NNEA has brought you a gift to welcome you this year, and Ms. Frederica is kindly modeling it. She's a great Vanna. What this is a succulent, one of the softer versions of a cacti, and it's pretty hardy. And attached to it is a statement that says, "From small seeds, giant trees grow. From simple letters, great relationships grow. May our relationship flourish." Welcome again to 2018 and 19.
Thank you.
You can go ahead and pick those up on your way out if you would so like to.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to mention. Dr. Parker, if you look on the side of the pot, it says Red for Ed. And again, that is an initiative we are starting to support public education. Every Wednesday, we're asking people to wear red to show that we support and we believe in public education. And if you don't believe in Newport News public education, we can't help you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next, we have Miss Jamie Bazemore. Miss Bazemore, would you please come on?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Congratulations to those who received awards tonight. Mr. Chairman, members of the school board, Mr. Superintendent. As you know, my name is Jannie Bazemore. I told my mother I was going to become famous. I don't come to lay anybody out tonight, to give anybody any marching orders or anything like that. I just came to say thank you to you all for listening to the citizens and the parents and the staff. And we appreciate very much that listening ear and that you all are working to replace Huntington Middle School. The plans are there. We've started working on that, and we're working hard. And I really cannot thank you enough, because our voices have been heard. And I really just want to say thank you, because I, for one, was very perplexed when they said they were going to close the doors of Huntington Middle School. And there were no plans, no action, nothing that said that it was going to be replaced. Our students in that area need that school, and we want to continue to work hard to make sure that it happens, and we want to do that as soon as possible. So we're here. I got on another shirt tonight of Concerned Citizens, that we pretty much grew out of the Concerned Citizens for Huntington. It is Concerned Citizens for Justice, Equality, and Equity. And we're here, we're gonna fight with you when budget time comes. And you know I'm not a silent partner. So once again, I just want to say thank you to you all, and we're going to continue the fight. And as I always say, Huntington shall rise again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Faithful. Do we have any more cards? There being no additional cards, we're going to move the agenda to our consent agenda. They're part of our consent agenda. It was part of your packages. In that 3.01, you had the minutes from the workshop August 14th, 2018. 3.02, minutes from the regular session August 14th, 2018. 3.03, financial reports, child nutrition services, August 2018, revenue and expenses, June and August 2018. Personnel report. We also had 3.05, our school board norms and protocols. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You heard the motion and you heard the second. Time for the question. There being none, Ms. Hinton, please call the roll.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons?
4.
Ms. Sewell's Law?
4.
Dr. Best?
4.
And Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to our action items. First action item we have up is 4.01. At our August meeting, the school board was notified that part of the future use of our current Scott site, Dominion Energy has requested a new easement to allowing the running of power to Building 1, which is currently under construction outside the gate at the current Scott location. If we could have a motion for approval, or have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of the easement.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You heard the second. Time for the question. There being none, Ms. Hinton, please call the roll.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons?
4.
Ms. Sewell's Law?
4.
Dr. Best?
4.
And Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Our next action item is item 4.02, capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2019 to 2023. Again, as part of the City of Newport News capital budget process, the school board is required to provide input in an approved plan covering the 5 years of the planned budget period. The plan for the fiscal year 2020 to 2024 addresses the immediate needs of the school divisions within that period. Once the plan is approved, the school division will request appropriation for each project as needed. And again, we had an overview of that at our last meeting. Any questions? If not, can we have a motion for approval?
Make a motion to approve.
You heard the motion? Your second?
Second.
You heard the motion and the second. Time for the question.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just make a comment in reviewing the capital improvement plan. I think it's a great plan. Of course, I am very much in support of the replacement of Huntington and like that's in the plan. I'm also very, I think the security improvements, the $2 million that have been identified for school hardening are important for our school division. But as well, as was included in a study that we funded a few years back, we identified 2 other schools for replacement that are in need of replacement that aren't in this plan at this time. So I am going to support this tonight because I don't want to hold up the replacement of Huntington, but I think that the board needs to take a hard look at where we are in terms of additional school buildings that are going to need significant support in the not too distant future. And would encourage the board to recall how we ended up in a situation where Huntington was where it was. It was because we had identification of needs early on and not making sure we ask. So our job is for certain to ask for the funding, even if the funding is not received. So that should be my comment on this.
Mr. Vice Chair, any other? Mr. Vice Chair, I am in with your sentiments as well. I know that the call was to have, I think, our Warwick High School. I believe that Ms. Mary Lou and her team, hopefully the next time we get a report from next year, hopefully we will show maybe a 10-year request that may show Warwick as one of those schools that are definitely in need. That being said, any more questions? There being none, Ms. Hinton, please call the roll.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Ms. Simons? 4. Ms. Sills Law?
4.
Dr. Best?
4.
And Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We'll move the agenda to our reports and information section. Next, we'll have coming up first for our preliminary accreditation report, Mr. Brian Nichols, our Chief Academic Officer. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Hunter, Dr. Parker, members of the board. Tonight I'm going to present to you a preliminary accreditation report. Keep in mind that the state will actually release the official report next week on the 27th, but we want to give you a look at our schools. Tonight's report is really in 3 parts. The first is a reminder about the new accreditation system across the Commonwealth of Virginia. The second part will show our accreditation trend by school, and then the final part shows some of the highlights around progress in Newport News Public Schools. So first, let's dive into the new accreditation matrix. The new accreditation system is comprised of 6 parts, and you can see them listed across the top there. Many of these components are new to accreditation, such as chronic absenteeism, college career readiness, even achievement gaps being new to accreditation. And others are factors that have been part of accreditation for some time but have different nuances to them, including academic achievement, where we now look at student growth, which is a great move in the right direction. So each one of these measures, each of the 6, has levels underneath each one, and it basically runs on a stoplight system, and I'll run through one of those with you. So you want to be level 1 at or above standard, of course. But you can be level 2 near standard or showing progress and still be a school that's accredited. That's a great move in the right direction. And then level 3 is where you don't want to be. You definitely don't want to be red. This designation could require some sort of corrective action, school improvement plan focused on that level 3 component. Just to give you an example, a school could be a level 3 for attendance and have levels 1 and 2s for everything else, and their corrective action or their school improvement plan would be focused on attendance because the other factors are in place. So let's look at one of those indicators, and I'll show you green, yellow, red, and we'll take dropout rate. So dropout rate is a part of accreditation. You want to be level 1, current year or 3-year average. They have 2 options for you. It needs to be between 3% and 5.9%. So our dropout rate for the school division is somewhere in the low 2s, around 2.3, 2.4%. And each one of our schools is well within, if not under, that level 1. There is no level 0, but we have some schools that could be there. But there's another method to it, a school in level 2 that the prior year decreases dropout. So you don't necessarily have to hit the bar, but are you better than you were last year? Are you making progress? Level 2 is between 6 and 8.9%. And what they did is they took all the schools in the Commonwealth and looked at their different data points to set these measures. And then current level 3 is if you're not meeting the benchmark and you're not showing improvement. So that really makes sense as far as performance levels. What that does is it gets you into 3 different accreditation designations. So you can be, the term fully accredited is no longer a term in accreditation. You're either accredited, you're accredited with conditions, or your accreditation denied are the 3 pieces. So to be accredited, you would want all your indicators to be level 1 or level 2. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that. Accredited with conditions is if you have any indicator in level 3. So 1 red takes you into accredited with conditions. Then you would do the school improvement corrective action plan focused on that area, and you would show improvement. Accreditation denied, and this is an important distinction, is when a school fails to implement a corrective action plan working with the Virginia Department of Education. We've always prided ourselves on our relationship with the Virginia Department of Education, and we plan to work collaboratively with them this year and moving forward to make sure that our schools are moving. So accreditation denied is about not implementing your corrective action plan and not working collaboratively with the State Department. So let me show you a couple of examples. So this is a school that is accredited, and these are all the different metrics that a school gets measured on now. So it's a lot more multifaceted than before. You can see that this school is not all green. They do have some areas that are yellow. So let's highlight them. So first we'll look at overall accreditation, and it's English, math, science. The first thing off the bat you'll notice is that social studies is not a part of accreditation. Okay? Social studies is still taught, it is still tested, it's very much alive and well, but when it comes to accreditation, it is not part of the formula. It is also where we do our best work, so it really does not help us that it's not there. And you can see some different categories now. So you have the number passing, the number that we've recovered. Those are kids that failed the previous year, but they've gotten excellent intervention, tier 1 instruction, and now are passing. And then you had the number that showed growth. So I didn't pass this year, but I'm better than I was last year, and I'm on track. And what a great notion of growth mindset for kids and for teachers to show that you move kids. The fourth column is the number of EL progress. So those are our English language learners that are showing progress on the English language. So they're able to master the English language better than they did the year before. We are finding that most of our English language learners do not fit in that category because they're either passing or they're showing growth, which is a great factor to have. So you can see that with this school, they're level 1 in each area, 75.95, 77, and so forth. That is where accreditation would have stopped in previous years. Here's where it moves forward. So now we don't only look, are all students successful? We want to look at each subgroup. Is each subgroup in Newport News, or at this school specifically, achieving at a high level? So you can see these are the subgroups that the state measures: Asian, Black, economically disadvantaged, as measured by kids on free and reduced lunch, English learners, Hispanic, students with disabilities, and white students. Keep in mind that a student can fit in multiple categories. So I can be an English language learner, I can be Hispanic, I can be economically disadvantaged, and I can be a student with disabilities. So you can fit in multiple categories. But there's always that opportunity for growth. And you can see how this school did by subgroup. So for Black students at 68.55, they need to be at 70. They need to do more there. Economic disadvantage, 73.15. They need to be at 75 because this is English, I'm sorry. Students with disabilities at 67. So you can kind of see a little bit of variance, but they're within that window to be accredited. Still work to do. All schools in Newport News will be working on school improvement planning and getting better, no matter if you're accredited or accredited with conditions. The same thing shows for math, so the same groups, the same layout as far as recovery and growth, and then you can see the different scores related to it. In math, you want to be 70 or above. There is one new letter or set of letters there. It's called TS. That means your group is too small. So there are schools where you'll have instances where the group is too small to measure, and that's the case in math for students with disabilities at this school. So, and then the final indicator is chronic absenteeism. So chronic absenteeism in this school is actually one of the best we have. It's 3.56% of kids being chronically absent. You want to stay below 16 to be green. You want to stay below 25% of your kids being absent so that you're not red. And who would want a quarter of the kids to be chronically absent? You wouldn't have a high-performing school typically. So multifaceted, but that's what a school that's accredited looks like, and this is one of our schools. If you ask me which one it is, I do not know, but I can look it up for you. So I want to give you an example of a school that's accredited with conditions, and just show you, just because you have that term accredited with conditions, all is not lost at that school. There are some great stories here. So let's look at this school, accredited with conditions. You can see overall English, math, science. You have 2 greens and a red. So this is the introduction of a new term, R10, in English. They're level 1, but they're not at 75 yet, but they're better than they were last year. They've reduced failure by 10%, and you can be green. What a great story for a school to get some momentum if they're making progress. So that's what R10 means. You can see that in science, they're red at 65. So at that point, they're accredited with conditions, no matter what the rest of their data says. Now, here's the heartbreaker for this school. At 65.01, you're yellow. They're at 65 flat. So you can be fractions of a point from being. Now, they still would not be accredited because of other issues, but that's how close it gets at times. So 65 is red, 65.01 starts your yellow band in science, and that's a kid. Looking at it across subgroups, when you look at English, they have made improvements overall, but we still have a couple groups that we need to look at, specifically Black and economically disadvantaged, sitting in that red band. So looking at instruction and looking at the work that we're doing and diving into our curriculum and see how do we make sure we're reaching all kids and how are we moving all kids. Because you can see in the same example, Hispanic and students with disabilities, you have that R10. We're moving kids at this school, and the all kid numbers are pretty good, but there are subgroups of kids that are not moving like we want them to. That's what this new accreditation system does. It puts a spotlight on each kid and gives us an opportunity to push. You can see in math they're faring much better. So you have that green all the way down, which is what you want to see. No matter what the group is, you want it to be green, with the exception of students with disabilities. So then we do very specific work with our student advancement department with students with disabilities and do that work. Chronic absenteeism at this school, you can see is at 18%, which would typically be yellow, but they've made progress. It's better than it was last year. So our attendance team is in. Really on the notion, if you're not at school, you're not going to learn. One note to mention on chronic absenteeism before I move forward, it doesn't matter if it's an excused or an unexcused absence. If you're not at school, you're not there to learn. So that's a transition for parents and families and community. We need you at school each and every day. A note does not wipe that away. We still need that note for state purposes, but for absenteeism, it counts. So that's an example of a school that's accredited and one with conditions. You can see it's more complex, more robust, and more diagnostic in the way it lays out. Here's the implementation timeline for you. 2017-18, the year we're just finishing, or we finished, is the transition year. So that this year we got to use either accreditation criteria. So you can use the retired system, the old way of doing things, or you can use the new system, whichever benefited you. This year that we're in right now, the new accreditation matrix is applied to all schools across the Commonwealth, except for that college and career ready indicator. The college career indicator kicks in 21-22. So just to give you an idea of who that is, those are the current freshmen who are in our schools, will be the first to have the college and career indicator applied to them. That's a whole nother presentation, but it consists of 8 different parts, including honors, AP, internships, job shadowing. A lot of the things that you saw we won some pretty big awards for is part of that college and career indicator. So we're in good shape with that, but we're going to build and create the future more with that. So that's the timeline. Second part of the presentation, I wanted to show you the accreditation trend. So we'll take you from 2014 to 2018. And you can see in 2014, Newport News Public Schools had 11 schools that were accredited. 7 elementary, 3 middle, 1 high. And we'll fast forward it through the years, and you can see that it starts to build, specifically in elementary going from 7 to 12, and in high school going from 1 to 5. The middle's where our work has been for the past couple of years. You can see 2017, 6, 1, and 14. And this year, the way it looks preliminarily, we'll have 6 high schools. So all our high schools for the second consecutive year. We'll have 3 middle schools, and now we're up to 17 elementary schools being accredited. So it's a nice trend line to see, but there's still a lot of work left to do with our schools. So here are the designations. So 26 Newport News Public Schools are accredited. We have 12 that are accredited with conditions. So 68% accredited, 32% accredited with conditions. 0% will be denied accreditation this year. Matter of fact, 0 schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia in this first year will be denied. And then moving forward will be your ability to work with the Virginia Department of Education and work on those corrective action plans. So that's an overview of how we look this year. Let me show you accreditation by level. So you can see the elementary schools that are accredited, the middle schools that are accredited, and then the high schools that are accredited. The schools that I've highlighted in green are newly accredited this year. So congratulations to Charles and Dutrow and Lee Hall, Palmer, where a third of our kids are Spanish speaking, and they've been on a great progress journey, made it this year. And then we added 2 middle schools and kept. This is the first year we've kept all the schools that were accredited and we didn't lose any. We just added to it. I think it's important to point out the schools that are new to accreditation. I think it's equally important to point out the schools that have been accredited for 3 or more years. So the General Assembly has a rule in place if you've been accredited for 3 consecutive years, that the next 3 years you're accredited no matter what your data says. Gives opportunities for innovation, gives you opportunities to try a lot of different things, and it rewards you for sustained improvement. All those schools you see highlighted in blue there are schools in Newport News that have been accredited for 3 or more years. A couple of them almost 2 decades straight. So we've got schools that have a very strong foundation. We're adding new schools to the accreditation, and then we have some really focused work to do with the remainder of our schools. So that's a look at them by level. Let me highlight a little bit of progress in Newport News, some of which I've stated, but I'll restate. So progress in Newport News, we have more than 25 schools that are accredited. 17 schools have now been accredited for at least 3 straight years. Those were the schools we highlighted in blue. All high schools will be accredited for the 2nd consecutive year. So last year was the first year that we had that in place. It's now 2 years back-to-back high school champions. 2 schools, you saw them tonight, Deer Park and Hilton, were named State Board of Education's Excellence in Education Award. And the last facet that I put there, no school will receive that accreditation denied designation in Newport News or anywhere in the Commonwealth this year. So that's a high-level overview of progress. Let me talk to you a little bit about next steps as I close. Right now, schools are reviewing their current data. Each school has that profile that I showed you earlier in the presentation. They have actually a more detailed version by teacher, by kid. So they're working on their current data, learning the new system. Schools are submitting school improvement plans centrally for review with our school leadership team and the teaching and learning team to look at their school improvement plans and make sure they're focusing on the specific groups and specific subjects that need the focus. We're working collaboratively with the Virginia Department of Education on our compliance efforts and improvement efforts. We'll be with them for 2 days in October, working through that piece to ensure that we do not have a school in that denied designation. VDOE releases the official accreditation report on the 27th. And then next month, what we're planning for you is a school improvement process presentation with school leadership and teaching and learning to talk about our school improvement work. How do we make sure we keep those schools accredited? And how do we get to all schools being accredited in a very rapid time frame? So that's what's coming before you in October. So that's the presentation tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Anyone have any questions? Dr. Bess?
For slide 12, you have for high schools, an Achievable Dream Middle High School, but for middle schools, an Achievable Dream Middle. Are there scores?
So that's a great question, Dr. Best. Achievable Dream Middle High School is technically accredited as a high school.
Okay.
So because they have a graduation and dropout rate and they're sort of a hybrid school, when it comes to accreditation, they are a high school. So you'll see them, that's why we have 6. We really have 5 comprehensive high schools in Achievable Dream Middle High. So yes, they do have the middle school piece and the high school piece. Sometimes it's an advantage, sometimes it's a disadvantage, but they are accredited as a high school.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Mr. Nichols, thank you for the report.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to item 5.02, and we'll have Ms. Stephanie Holtz up.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Dr. Parker, Mr. Hunter, and our board members, I am thrilled to be here tonight to really kind of provide you a little bit of an update. About 18 months ago, I was here with you and shared with you an initiative that we were getting ready to embark on called the Teacher Residency Program. And so tonight I am going to kind of update you on where we are with that and how things are going. So just to kind of give us a little bit about why we would even consider the residency program, just to kind of remind you, you've seen this data before. This is the average, basically the numbers of instructional staff that we hire on an annual basis. So obviously a nice chunk of staff that we have to try to secure every year. And we've also talked before about the local teacher prep programs here. I've got Norfolk State, HU, CNU, ODU, and William & Mary on this particular slide, but it shares with you the number of actual student teachers that they produce on an annual basis, and this is the last 4. And I showed you this just to show you that this past current year, there were approximately 500 student teachers out there at in those 5 universities, and based on the number of student teachers that we need to hire every year, we'd like to make sure that we attract as many of them as we possibly can to come and work for Newport News Public Schools. So that is the real big reason as to why we would consider a residency program. So just to kind of give you the details about what does a residency program do, first of all, it's a year-long co-teaching internship. Not just a few weeks in the spring or just a semester. It goes through the entire year. It is an alternative to the traditional student teaching model. The students that are residents do earn their graduate degree at their university. While they're doing that, they do earn an annual salary as a resident here with us. They receive scholarships to help pay for that master's program while they go through it. They have a Newport News Public Schools teacher resident coach working with them for that entire year. And it involves a commitment to the school division as part of that residency program. Just to kind of give you a little idea about what's the difference between a traditional student teaching model and the teacher residency. First of all, a lot of it is about the length of time. Typical student teacher experiences are for just 1 semester, so around 12 weeks typically. The teacher residency, again, is from the entire school year. They start in August with the teacher and go all the way through the end of the school year, so a good full 10 months. There's a quick immersion into the student teaching realm. If you're only doing it a semester, you kind of come in for a couple of weeks, get your bearings, maybe start taking over classes, and then kind of wind your way out. And so you really don't spend but maybe 6 to 8 weeks actually teaching during that time period. For the teacher residencies, there is a gradual immersion. So you're starting at the beginning of the school year and you're working and developing a co-teaching model with your coach first in their classroom and then gradually taking over that class. What that allows for is then assuming full responsibility much quicker and for a longer period of time. As I said, during a traditional student teaching model, typically they will only teach about 6 to 8 weeks completely by themselves. With the resident program, that can be up to 6 to 8 months of that year that they're actually teaching independently. And of course, the feedback is a big piece. Obviously, in student teaching, they're going to receive written and oral feedback through that process through their cooperating teacher. With a teacher residency model, it's a daily reflection. So a little debrief at the end of each day because it is a co-teaching model and then the resident taking over. So it really provides much more time for reflection, for feedback, and of course then the additional written feedback is also provided. So why would we choose to do this? Back to that question a little bit. All the research says the preparation matters. Teacher prep programs have worked years and years and years trying to figure out what is the best way to prepare teachers for the classroom. Our residents actually develop those knowledge and those skills as well as that habit of mind that is important for entering in a classroom, and they've been able to develop that over that year time period. As I said, it does require commitment. The commitment is the 1-year residency as well as then committing to 3 years of employment with Newport News Public Schools as part of that. And obviously the big reason that HR is obviously interested is the retention piece. When we have better qualified, better skilled teachers starting that first year, then they're going to stay with us much longer and be much more successful in making an impact with our students. So let me tell you about last year. We started our first residence program last year. We partnered with Christopher Newport University. Many of you know that we have a very good relationship with them. All of the student teachers at CNU come and do their time or their student teaching time with us here in Newport News. And so we partnered first with them. And we had 5 teacher residents that were identified. We had 3 elementary teachers that were assigned to Jenkins Elementary School and 2 biology teachers that were assigned to Woodside High School. All 5 of those teachers not only completed their master's in teaching, but they also received their Virginia teaching license, and are currently under contract in our schools right now. So 5 for 5 first year, so very successful. Okay. And before I move on to what we're doing this year, what I'd like to do is to introduce you to Cammie Wagner. She is currently a second grade teacher at Jenkins Elementary School and was one of our residents last year. So I thought it might be interesting for you to hear from her about her experiences last year and then how things are going so far this year. So Cammie?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am so excited to be here to talk to you guys about the program. As Ms. Hott said, I am Cammie Wagner. So I was one of the first 5 residents to be chosen. And I want to start by saying I was so excited when I heard about this program during my senior year at CNU. I was excited because I had already been in Newport News Public Schools. I volunteered a lot in Newport News Public Schools, and I already found a love for the district. So I read about the residency program, and to me it was very clear from the beginning that it exudes the very ideal that SMART is something you become. And I knew from the beginning that that was something that I had to be a part of. So I applied for it. Being a part of the pilot year, to say the less, we really didn't know what we were getting into. But we did know that the experience we were going to have was immeasurable, and it was going to set us up for success for our first year of teaching. Also, the idea of signing a 3-year contract with Newport News Public Schools was a no-brainer to me. Knowing that they were willing to invest in me during my growth and development as a teacher and prepare me for my first year, no other school district offered that for me. So I knew I wanted to stay with Newport News Public Schools. As Ms. Hott said, a typical student teacher usually has the full responsibility of the classroom for about 2 months. In contrast, teacher residents will be in the classroom from start to finish with a veteran model teacher. We will be picking up things a lot quicker than they will be, but we also get them for a lot longer. For me, I was terrified to take writing. I did not know what a 7 or 8-year-old was going to give me in writing, so I said that was the first thing I was going to be picking up. So I actually picked up my first subject in October, so about 2.5 months before student teachers were even coming into the school to be with their classes. So by the time student teachers came back to their schools in January, the last week of January, I had the whole classroom already under my wing, picking up my very last subject in January. So I ended up having double the amount of time with my class than a regular student teacher. Obviously, that time set me far and beyond ready for my first year of teaching. One of the most notable ways that I can tell you right now is through curriculum. That was one of the hardest things that I had to navigate through the residency program. Luckily, I had a veteran model teachers who helped me along with the way. But I have a lot of experience now in the curriculum being back in 2nd grade. So I kind of have an idea of what my kids are going to give me, what they're capable of, and how to assess them and help them. Not only that, but I also had the opportunity to teach a lot of the lessons that I will be teaching again this year. So I was able to get the feedback from not only model teachers, but also Newport News Public Schools came in, Angela Rett, and gave us a lot of feedback as well. So I'm able to bring that into my classroom this year. I also had a lot of experience, obviously, with testing. PALS testing is one of the biggest tests we give, if not the biggest, in 2nd grade. So I not only know how to administer the test, but I know how to analyze the data and to place my students accordingly throughout the year. So that I'm ready for October now for our PALS testing. So to say the least, this experience has been invaluable for, I know, all 5 of us. Not only has it helped us found our voice as a teacher, our style in the classroom, but it also gave us the opportunity to make a lot of connections with many people in Newport News. And these are all people that are continuing to help me, and they are instrumental in my development as a first-year teacher and guiding me along the way. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Cammie. I think she did a much better job than I can possibly do telling you about this program. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing this year, because we were so thrilled with our results last year. We decided it was very important to expand this program. And so this year we again have CNU students who are participating as residents. This year they happen to be 3 elementary who are going back to Jenkins. We have coaches there that are now got a year under their belt, and they have embraced 3 new residents coming in this year. We also have a secondary English this time that is assigned to Crittenden Middle School. So we're continuing that CNU program. But what we were able to do, which was just amazing, is through a discussion with ODU about some of our needs, they jumped right in and developed a residency program in partnership with us for special education. Which is very exciting. Yes, it is. So we currently have 4 residents in special education now partnering with ODU. 3 of them are at the elementary level at McIntosh, Discovery STEM, and Nelson Elementary Schools. And then we have a secondary person also at Crittenden in our special education program. So we're very, very thrilled. Dr. Rebecca Schaefer, she was going to try to make it here tonight. I don't know if she did or not, but she is the professor that is working with us at ODU with our resident program, and we are just so very thankful to them for really stepping up and embracing what our needs are and jump right into it. So we're very thrilled with that. One of the key elements of this, and I think you heard that a little bit from Cammie, is the development piece, the work that's done with them as they're going through that year. And so I'm really pleased to talk about the work, not only of the universities that we're working with, because ODU and CNU obviously do a lot of work with the residents because they're part of that master's program, but also with our own staff. Angela Lorette and her team have been key in working with the CNU program. They provide professional development to get the coaches started and kick off the residents at the beginning of the year. Then they do monthly focus meetings all through the year, pulling the coaches and the residents together. Residents obviously working on their lesson planning, how to create a good learning environment, strategies, reflection, all of that. And the coaches really working on what is that co-teaching model supposed to look like, and how do I provide feedback to my resident and help them know how to be a reflective teacher. Of course, the daily expectation for that collaborative reflection that I talked about earlier. And of course, those ongoing classroom visits, not only again from the university staff, but also from our own staff here in Newport News. So again, the CNU program, Angela Lorette and her staff are instrumental. In our new special education program, we have Dewana Cooper, I think, is here as well as Angela. There she is. That is working specifically with the special education residents for this school year. So I appreciate so much their help in the development part of those residents through that year. And finally, where are we going to go next? Well, we have some exciting plans. One of the things that we did work with CNU on last year and actually have received, or they have received it as a partner with us, is a NOIS grant, which is a STEM-focused grant. And part of that grant is identifying young people early at the university that are interested in those STEM areas, and then providing experiences for them about teaching and how that can play a role in their career. And then at the end of that time, or that time during their time of the university, is actually the teacher residency component. So those students will then become residents as they move on in teaching in the STEM area. CNU and Newport News Public Schools applied for a VDOE teacher residency partnership grant this summer, and so we are hopeful that we will receive notice of that, so that will assist with some of our funding. And for next year, ODU will also include us in their application so that we can continue to expand with them. And obviously, you know, as we continue to grow, we're going to be looking at other opportunities for our funding piece. It's very exciting work. I know that we have worked for several years now at the state level talking about the shortages of teachers. And one of those components is really looking at how we're preparing students and the teacher prep programs. I know the universities are all very much working on that right now. And a lot of that talk is about the experiences like a residency that would become part of their programs as well. So it's very exciting work, and be glad to answer any questions for you.
Any questions? Ms. Jones, yes.
So first, the program sounds awesome, and Ms. Wagner, you were like so excited, like it's great. Yeah. My question was actually, how are the teachers chosen to be a part of the residency program?
There is an application process that they go through, and there is an interview process that includes the Newport News human resources staff, the curriculum development staff, and so they are selected from a list of candidates. There's a lot of recruitment that's done, especially at the ODU program, trying to access kind of non-traditional students to access the residency opportunity. The special education program is very exciting because traditionally a SPED, either master's degree program or even an endorsement, has been a little difficult to get at times. And so this residency concept has really forced the university to look at what kind of program can that look like. And these residents are really going through a master's program in a year with this experience as well, which is really exciting.
Anyone else? Mr. Ely?
I just want to commend you and your staff on coming up with this great idea for this program. It's like we're getting the best teachers firsthand from two amazing universities, ODU and Christopher Newport University, and they come right here to our school district, Newport News. So I just want to commend you and definitely commend you on your presentation. I was like, I want to go back to school and be in her class. So I'm glad to have you in Newport News. I know you're going to help other new teachers to be part of the program and continue that great spirit throughout our school system. I just want to say thank you again for joining such an amazing school system. And thank you for putting this, your team putting this amazing program together.
Thank you.
Any other? Mr. Brown?
Yeah, great program, really very innovative, and thank you, Ms. Jacobson, for coming out and speaking with us tonight. A couple of questions in regard to the ODU program is really sparks a lot of thought in terms of this is a great hard to fill kind of spot. So what about other hard to fill types of spots like math in secondary education, science, and things of that nature? Thoughts around pulling those things together in the coming years?
Right. Part of that NOIS grant is addressing this specifically, those math and science areas, and so we'll have a group that will come through that grant that will address that. The other kind of next steps with ODU is also to embrace the STEM areas there. When they first started working with resident programs with school divisions across the water, it was around the STEM areas. So obviously very excited about being able to create the special ed with them, but next steps with them will be to expand that to their existing STEM areas with the residents as well. So,
and then
yes.
A general question around, it looks like, by comparison, ODU is certainly, they're the big market to try to grab teachers from because they're producing so many. Any thoughts on why are they producing more, or they seem to have a larger system, and then what's our market share of ODU?
Right. Just size of the university itself is a big piece of ODU, and lots of universities kind of focus on their programs that they kind of develop in London. So ODU has traditionally been a very strong school of ed program in this community. We don't get as many of their student teachers. I think that there's some distance. There's the bridge thing, the tunnel thing, all those kinds of things. But we have been working diligently with ODU for the last 2 years. They have a Monarch Teach program, which also is kind of their version of getting STEM interested students into the teaching realm. And so we have been working with them on trying to create one of those programs at the Peninsula Center. And so we, last year they got a few interests, but we just didn't get enough to be able to do it this past year. But that's the work we're doing with them, as well as we have worked with them about trying to overcome the barriers of the distance thing. So looking at those schools that are closest, we have Discovery STEM now. If you're looking at that STEM area, we've got schools that are closest to Norfolk that we can really kind of target as far as placements for them. So we're making some headway. They've invited us, and we've been a part of getting to know their students more in the last year or two. And so I think that's going to be really kind of our inroad is when their students get to know Newport News and what we're all about, then they will choose to come and brave that bridge or that tunnel to come in and do their student teaching with us.
Anyone else?
I have.
Dr. Bass.
Have you made any contact with Hampton University, or if so, what's the status?
Yes, we work with Hampton University on a very regular basis. We have not, as you saw, their numbers are pretty small. So we have not actually started the residency program with them yet. Doing the residency program involves some adjustments on the university's part in terms of scheduling and coursework and some things like that, and so which would be more difficult for a smaller program. But what we do is a lot of partnership with them. We spend a lot of time working with their students that are there. We actually go on site and interview their student teachers directly rather than them coming over on this side, providing lots of experiences in terms of practicums and other time in our schools during that time.
Anyone else? Thank you very much for a wonderful report. Okay. We're going to continue on the agenda, part of your package. 5.03, the membership report, 5.04, construction report, and 5.05. Anything about those reports? If there's none, we'll have comments from Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank the Huntington alumni for a yearbook that I received in compliments of Hattie Thomas Lucas on the Huntington High School. I look forward to looking through this and enjoying this, and the personal note from Ms. Lucas regarding the booklet. I had the opportunity to ride through the Southeast community. Was it last week? The week before? Yeah, weekend before. On they had their Community Day parade, and we beat the storm, and had a chance to go through the community, and it was a very nice event. It was very good. It was just a pleasure to see so many people out, and as a community celebrating just the southeastern communities and their history, and everyone coming out there, the bands. It was a very good event, and I encourage anyone, it's an annual event, to come out and participate in that. I want to thank a few folks for their assistance last week with our weather cancellations. A very difficult time for our school division, but as always, Newport News Public Schools rose to the occasion. We made sure that we made sound decisions not only for our schools, but for our communities. Unfortunately, we were not able to hold classes all week, but I think everyone will agree it was we dodged a bullet, and I think we should be truly blessed for that we're in school this week and everyone is safe. But I do want to thank Keith Webb, and Keith, would you stand up there, and also Jeff Nelson. And if you guys don't know it, Keith handles all of our maintenance needs in our buildings and facilities, and Jeff handles school security. They were instrumental all week and available throughout the times we were out to make sure that all of our buildings were straight, that we had emergency shelters set up, that we were communicating with the city, that we were responding to the needs not only of our school division but our community. And I want to thank you personally for allowing me to bug you. I think I heard your grandkids in the background one time when I called you early in the morning. Just thank you for really being there and being a strong example of what professionalism is in Newport News. So thank you very much for that. I'd also like to thank the presenters today for great presentations. I know some of our data is challenging. We had a discipline presentation during our workshop, and I heard from several board members about the transparency of a very tough message. We do have a lot of work to do in terms of how, not only how we treat students, but how do we keep them in school and engaged with the educational process, even when there are behavioral things that are taking place and real life situations going on in their own world. But we have work to do. We acknowledge the work. We understand the work, and as you've seen today in our workshop, that we have already started to look at solutions to some of the issues that impact disproportionality and how we treat students and how we'll ensure that our students are successful moving forward. So thank you to our presenters today for that presentation, and I was very pleased to share that information with the board and with the community. I did hear some information about long-range capital improvement planning, and I have already had some great conversations with the city about how we can continue to have forward thinking around how we manage our facilities, not only whether it's renovation, whether it's new construction, but I totally agree with Mr. Brown's comments that we need to continue to forward think about the conditions of our buildings and how when is it time for us to renovate and or rebuild. And the city, to a person, everyone I've spoke to on the city side has agreed that is something we need to work across the table and do. So just so you know, we are committed to having that dialogue with them and continuing to work on how we can better serve the community here and our buildings. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Those are just my comments from just this evening and last week, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. We'll move the agenda for item number 6. Do we have any cards?
I have no additional cards.
There being no cards, we're going to continue on to matters of the school board. First, we have up our student representative, Mrs. Jones. floor is yours.
Hi. So, Dr. Parker made the comment about the staff and how well actually, I know some students, everybody thought that the evacuation vacation was handled. But one thing I kind of wanted to say, and a lot of us found it kind of funny, was, of course, with all the school cancellations, then a lot of students, mainly underclassmen, were worried that, now we might have half days turn into full days, and we're not going to have half days anymore. And all of the seniors that I know, we all had the same mindset. We all said, well, graduation for what is still the same time, same day, so you can turn all the half days into full days you would like, because we're still graduating on time. And so we cruise through our evacuation vacation, but it really is a blessing that NNPS made it safe, and just our area as a whole, we were great. The reports I heard tonight were awesome, and that teacher residency program has me excited, and it's really cool. So thank you for those reports; they were great. Those are my comments.
Well, more to come on school on Make It Time.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bess.
Good evening. I too would like to commend the Huntington Alumni Association for your dedication, for your commitment, for your stick-to-itness. I think the anthropologist Margaret Mead, she talked about the most powerful group of people was a small, committed group of people. So I'm excited about the progress that has been made with Huntington. I'm looking forward to great things, but I'd like to thank you for your commitment. Also, for all of the presenters for Newport News Public Schools, outstanding job, outstanding information. I'm a kind of detailed person, but I'm a little bit slow. But I listen carefully, and just the presentations just have been really, really just great. And I do appreciate the way that you break them down and make them so simple that even the simplest person can understand. I had an opportunity to visit several schools on the first day of school. Being a former school employee, I've never had a chance to do that, and that was simply awesome. So I got to see some of the wonderful people that I know about, that I've been hearing about. I actually got to see them in their school environment, so that was wonderful as well. And today I had an opportunity to work at the food bank with elected officials, and it made me feel so proud when they talked about the great partnership and collaborative effort with Newport News Public Schools. They're doing wonderful work, and as you all know so well, if they're hungry, they cannot learn. So I'm just proud to be a part of this division, and I continue to look forward to great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bess. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to you, Vice Chairman, and the Dr. Parker, Superintendent. The reports have been outstanding. I think the first day we started, I told you when I left from here, I received about 3 or 4 phone calls because a lot of the elderly watch it on TV. And they said, Mr. Harris, I can follow everything. Reports are simple, to the point. So that's been a wonderful improvement, and I really appreciate that. Huntington alumni, thank you for continuing your efforts. You keep us on our toes. I wish we had more citizen engagement when it comes to issues of the school system, but we really appreciate that. And Dr. Parker, to you for your leadership by providing direction, purpose, and motivation. And to all the staff members, appreciate your efforts because I think everyone is leaders at every level, whether you a student representative or a new teacher or a veteran teacher or administrator. We're all leaders at a certain level. So thank you for all that support. The citizens out there that I talk to or call me or email me on a regular basis, they really, really, really know that you all have a tough job, all right? And they really appreciate that. They really do, because most say, I couldn't do it. So it takes a special type of person. I grew up around teachers and my family, so it's a calling, as they say. It's not something normal people do. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, not really. It's a special calling. It really truly is. And it's an effort that's needed by special people such as yourself. Okay, so appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Mrs. Simons.
I also want to thank everybody for the really great detailed reports this evening. I want to report to the board that we had our first meeting for New Horizons Career and Technical Centers, and we have a new executive director. His name is Mr. Casey Roberts, and I've been really impressed because he's already made a lot of connections in the community, and not just with the business partners to provide career and technical jobs, but also to some partners who might be able to help our special education kids and kids in the school for autism. So that reaching out and looking out for all students really impressed me. And I will continue this year to be chair of the board for New Horizons, and I'm excited about that. And I also wanted to report back to the board that I had an opportunity over Labor Day weekend to speak to the governor. And we talked about the potential, perhaps some windfall tax dollars possible in the budget. And I talked to him about the possibility of school construction money, because I feel that a short-term windfall would be really well invested in some of our school buildings. And I would relate that back to our capital improvement budget that we approved today, and that hopefully in future we can have more than just one school in that budget, because really to make progress, we're going to have a plan for more schools, I think, in future. So I think there's an opportunity right now at the state level for all of us to start talking about school construction money at the state level in terms of school safety too, because that's a big thing that they're talking about a lot in Richmond right now. So I think if we're all on message about the need for the state government to participate in this really building crisis that we have all across Virginia, that we might be able to move the needle and find some more sources of revenue. So I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about going up to the Virginia School Board Association conference. We're having a legislative conference this week, and your school board is always there, very active, trying to help set the agenda for school boards in the state of Virginia. So I'm really proud to be on this board, and we'll keep fighting for everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Simons. Mr. Ely.
Like Dr. Parker said, I had a great time last 2 weekends ago at the Southeast Community Day Parade and Festival. It was amazing to see so many of our school bands throwing down, seeing the community enjoy them. And just to see the community come together as a whole was great in the East End section of Newport News. I also want to thank the Huntington alumni for coming out and showing their support. At the beginning, when they first started coming, it's like, oh Lord, here come Huntington. Now when you see them, it's like, hey, Miss Bazemore. We became one big family. And that's what it's about with community. It's about building that relationship, building that partnership. It's not about you do this or you do that. It's about we all working together as one team, and we all have one goal. And I'm so glad, we built that relationship where we're a family, we're a team. We're going to get Huntington. We're going to get another Huntington Middle School. We're on the same side, so it just feels good to, when you see them, you're excited to see them versus, oh my gosh. So you definitely have my commitment. I know you have the rest of the board commitment too, to make sure we have another Huntington Middle School. And it was awesome to see when we did the when we did the partnership with the community and the designers, how everybody was involved with their ideas. It just wasn't my idea or Dr. Parker's idea. We took concerns from the community as well, and we worked together. We broke up in teams, and we figured out what we want Huntington Middle School to look like. So it was a great collaborative agenda with both the community and city officials and the designers to let them know what our community needs. I'm really excited about the partnership with ODU and CNU. And like Dr. Best said, let's get HU more involved with the practices too, because it's just seeing the young lady speak, the excitement she had, because she was already prepared and she was well set up. So having all of our teachers that exciting, and we getting firsthand, and they're getting great training as well. Also, I'd like to congratulate Heritage Award with their CTE awards. That's just amazing. We continue to move in the right direction. And I also like to thank the board for all y'all calls and text messages. I lost my father 2 weeks ago, and it was really hard. But this board was definitely, they're my family. And I just want to thank them publicly because they called They checked on me. Dr. Best, what your family want to eat. It was definitely a team effort. And sometimes you never know what it is to lose a parent, but this board was definitely there for me. And I really appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, because it was something I never thought I would have to go through at this age. So thank y'all again, and I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ely. Mrs. Sorrells Law.
Well, I had the chance to visit on the first day of school, and boy, that right there is excitement. One of the things that was warming to my heart was to see our Huntington babies come in to Heritage, but know that there was an alternate future for that community, that wasn't the end all. That being said, they had some pretty big smiles coming into Heritage, so it was a joy to see that with the group. Mr. Nichols, I really appreciated your presentation and helping us understand what accreditation is looking like for the district. What's I guess encouraging to me is that we already have the pulse on some of the new parameters that are going to be part of the paradigm of what we call accreditation now. So we're kind of hitting the ground running, and so that's really good. And I like that momentum is rewarded. I mean, that's something that we need to be articulating to our students in the classroom, and for them to be able to know that that's happening within their schools. That's encouragement for our teachers. It really is just a win-win, so thank you for that. That residency teacher program, if I were going to go back and do it all over again, it sounds like a wonderful opportunity. I'd like to get some information so that we can get that out into the community. A lot of us in the business community have connections where we can get those to students. It really is a model for our district's interaction with students in terms of time and focus and mentorship. That's what we need to be doing in our classrooms with our students, and if we're doing that with our teachers, that's amazing. I'm sorry that Ms. Jacobson has left already. I wanted to thank her for her enthusiasm for our students, so please relay that to her. We know that achievement equals talent plus preparation, and Newport News is doing the preparation for our students. And tonight, these reports really laid out, one, what we're doing, and two, where we need to go. And that's the piece that we absolutely have to focus on. But what's nice is we get to see that foundation and what we're building on. We're not just doing this as a shot in the dark, as we can see through the presentations tonight. It's really based on data, and that's encouraging. And then the last part, a theme tonight has been that we need to do things for special education. And hearing about the teacher residency program and some of the other opportunities coming to us through the Governor's School, I just feel really encouraged that we're hitting all of the areas of our school community. So thank you for your presentations this evening.
Mr. Laws, Sorrell, thank you very much. Mr. Vice Chair Brown.
Oh, well, really a great evening of wonderful presentations. I want to give a perspective tonight. Just Mr. Hunter and I, we came into the board about roughly the same time, and I think there's some other folks who were there with us. But when we started out, we had 11 accredited schools at that time. And tonight we heard a presentation from Mr. Nichols that 26 of our schools are accredited. And I don't know that everyone in the audience really gets that perspective there. 26 from 11 to 26. So you guys should clap for yourselves. Just a monumental achievement. That's more than double the number of accredited schools from just 4 years ago. And we continue to be on an upward trend. So we definitely see the light peering through that tunnel there. Towards the complete, I'll start using the term complete accreditation because full accreditation doesn't exist anymore. So really great presentation and tremendous progress that has been made. Wonderful to see all the hard work that's gone through the various programs that we've seen. The other thing I want to really commend, I think has already been echoed, tonight we had just a phenomenal presentation on our school discipline data. And so I want to personally thank Mr. Ransom and Mr. Ellis for putting together just a really great package of data, answering a lot of the questions that I've asked over a number of years in terms of trends and where we see ourselves. And it's really great to be able to see where we are right now and know where we want to go. So we can very clearly see where we are and see the progress that we've already been making. And I'm very confident that by measuring where we want to go and knowing where we are, that we'll get to where we want to be. So I'm very, very encouraged tonight and really excited entering into a new school year. Had a chance to go out on the first day of school myself as well. With Dr. Wright, we went around to some schools on the first day. Got to visit Denby and some of the other schools in the area. I can say it was interesting to see the Marvel Universe is not as popular as people profess. Batman is the #1 superhero amongst all kids. I counted them up. You know, I'm a data person. I was counting the kids as I was going through. The most was the Batman backpacks, followed closely by Superman backpacks. So DC Universe is strong and representing in Newport News Public Schools as far as the superheroes are concerned. So that was cool and neat for me. This week I will be going up with Ms. Simons as well to the Virginia VSBA Legislative Advocacy Conference. I want to thank you all for sending me up there and letting me work on your behalf, because we do get a chance and opportunity to do some good work on behalf of all Virginia schools when we attend those events. And that's I'm very proud to wear this VSBA board member distinction. That's how you get those pins, is going up there to those events and learning what's going on at the state level and working hard to try to make a change. And so a lot of the wacky ideas you all see me come back here with, I get there at those VSBA events. So I encourage all board members, as a regional vice chairman for the Tidewater area, I encourage all board members out there, please go to those VSBA events. That is how we, as board members, get to know one another, understand the common struggles that we have amongst all school divisions, and start advocating for policies that are going to push all Virginia schools forward. So I encourage all board members to please go to as many VSBA events as you can. And so with that, I'm excited about the year, excited about, I think it's a wonderful capital plan that we've put together. Even with my comments, I still think it's a good plan that we've put together. And now to the Huntington community, I hope that you all will continue to remain engaged, because remember, it's now an approved official plan, but the plan has to be funded. So I hope that you all remain engaged, and I hope that you will serve as an example to other members of the community as well for their engagement, because I think without your engagement, I would say that we wouldn't be as far as we are in the process. For certain, we wouldn't be as far as we are in the process. So really want to thank you for your engagement, and hope you all remain engaged, and then tell others around the community that they need to remain engaged as well, because there are other schools in the division that are in serious capital need. As we've talked about tonight, we have it's roughly $65 million in learning cottages that need to be converted into regular buildings. So having kids actually in classroom buildings as opposed to learning cottages. So there's many capital needs in our aging bus fleet and other things of that nature. So there's many capital needs that are needed throughout the school divisions. So I hope you all will remain engaged. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Well, I guess it's me between you and going home. So again, there's great things happening in Newport News Public Schools. And again, I want to reiterate again the first report we've got about the disciplinary data that we have in this particular school. And the report was so honest, and the integrity of the report. We were put it right up on and know where we are. We know what we need to do to correct that. And so I would like to reiterate that report was just a wonderful report that 5 years on the board, we finally got it in a detailed format that I could carry it home and you can massage it, and we know exactly where to go. So that team was just phenomenal. Brian, as always, you do a phenomenal report, and the new accreditation is something now that we accredit for just improvement. It was always the key. I think that was a story behind our SMART program in the summertime, about learning, we have kids come to third grade, they couldn't read. When they leave third grade, they could at least read on third grade level, where some of our surrounding schools or classes. Folks came in third grade reading on third grade level and left on the fourth grade level. So they took one step where, those struggling schools actually took 3 or 4 steps. And so those programs, at least we're going to get credit for that now. So I want to thank you for that report. And Ms. Holtz, I want to get a part of that program too. I have 2 daughters, so they need to get into a program so they can get off my payroll. So what a wonderful program, and again, that I'm employed at the other university now, my alma mater. I will kind of look into that to see how we can also improve that relationship as well. A big thanks to our custodians. The first day of school, again, I visited, I think, 5 schools, and the schools were just clean, the cafeteria workers were happy, the teachers were excited, the secretaries were welcoming. I mean, that's what makes the whole school, and I know Mr. Shade's not here today. We transported, some 28,000 kids, with just a little bit of maybe a hiccup, but everyone traveled safe, and that's a remarkable thing to transport 29,000 kids on a particular day without really any major incidents. So I want to thank you to our good bus drivers, and that again comes from 5 years ago when our bus drivers were paid at the bottom, and now with our bus drivers paid at the top, near the top, you get good bus drivers. And you get them, and we hired them. And same reflection of the teachers that we get, right? And that's why we're able to move our accreditation from fewer schools, from 12 schools or 13 schools we started to now with 27 schools. And so pay, in a sense, is part of that equation to get good teachers. That's all part of that equation. It all goes back to our capital budget and making sure we have these monies in our budgets. And that brings me to our relationship with the city. I must say that Dr. Parker and I had during our reuse, the mayor called me, and he says, "Hey, Gary, I'd like to use some good time, since there's no school in, what are you doing? Let's go out and and then for a little bite. Call the superintendent up and see if he wants to go out as well, and we did, and we were out for about 2.5 hours. Again, building relationships. Building that relationships. And on a casual, it's all about relationship building. It's all about one city. And the mayor has said to me and to Dr. Parker that he wants to build a relationship. We want to have one city. And that's how we get multiple schools, completed down the road. So we're in the process of mending that. That comes from that started, with Huntington. It started with our teachers and our vice chair last year with getting teachers raises and having those teachers come forward, and having Huntington and having those folks with the city, with the park. That means all of our residents are involved. They're actually getting involved, and that's good for the whole city. Actually, it's great for the whole city. So thank you for continuing to come. Again, I wish the young lady who was here, she did a fabulous job. Give her a thanks. And I believe, again, thank you for the plants from the Newport News Educators Association. Thank y'all for the plants again. I believe you gave us plants last year.
Still got them. So mine's still alive. Yeah, mine's still alive.
And this will be alive.
And I believe, again, I believe that's it. I did want to say, Dr. Bess and Mrs. Simons, we thank you for coming out today at the food bank, because I am a food bank board member as well. And thanks to the principal and the staff at General Stanford, who did a joint venture with the food bank to feed those who serve our country and their families, which was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity for, again, the school, Newport News, to collaborate with the food bank as well as and with the military. And since we're in the military area. That being said, everyone have a safe trip home, and if there's nothing else for this evening, I will adjourn the meeting.